Starting from the beginning of the sentence, we get to choose ta or tt to fit with each syllable to create our rhythm. I'm not going to use eighth notes by themselves because that's just a little bit more complicated. If I use eighth notes in pairs, it'll lend to better success. Doesn't mean you can't do it this way, but for the purposes of ease, we're only going to use eighth notes in pairs. I would like to start with 2 eighth notes, TTs. What's a? Gruffalo, I think, should be slower because it's an important word. So I will put quarter notes or tas on each syllable for Gruffalo. Notice how I have this written out by the syllables, just so that when we're writing the notation, it's easier to separate. If I'd written Gruffalo all together, no, I can't write. If I had written Gruffalo all together, it would have been harder to tell which note went with which syllable. What's a Gruffalo? It's a good idea at points to stop and check your rhythm and see if you like it. So far, I like it. I think it sounds right to have Y as a ta, because putting Y did fast together with 2 TTs just doesn't seem like it would work. Didn't, I think, would sound good as TT. Let's check it. What's a Gruffalo? Y didn't. If you wanted to check it using ta and TT first, you could. TT, ta, 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 TT, and then put the words in after you've done the rhythm. What's a Gruffalo? Y didn't. I think it makes sense to do these 2 slow. You and no. Okay, let's try it first with the ta and the TT. I would clap this with my students as I did it, or ask them to clap as I point. Ready? TT, ta, 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 TT, ta, ta. Let's try it with the words. Ready? What's a Gruffalo? Why didn't you know? Did you notice before I started I took a breath? Ready? That breath helped you know when to come in, or will help your students know when to come in. If I was in front of a classroom, I would lift my hand with that breath as a conducting gesture. What's? Like that. I should have done that to begin with. Okay. After we've got our notes down, we can leave it like that. If we want to get more into time signature, we can get more into time signature. So then we need to decide, to figure out the time signature, kind of how our beats fit within groups. I think the easiest way to go about that is to find your words that have the most emphasis, the most syllabic emphasis, or the biggest weight to them as you speak it. So I'm going to speak it and listen for those words. What's a Gruffalo? Why didn't you know? Gruffalo and didn't. Let's see if that is grouped in the same amount of beats between each of those beginning words. 1, 2, 3, 4 beats here. Let's check 1, 2, 3. What if we add a rest to the end? 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll make this just a pickup note or an upbeat. So I'm going to draw my bar lines in before each of my strong words. And I'm going to draw my time signature. There are 4 beats in a measure. The only time it's okay to break that rule is when you have an upbeat. And usually when you have an upbeat, you'll have a measure at the end that adds up to equal whatever your number of beats in a measure is. So if we didn't add this rest, we'd have 1, 2, 3, plus 1 equals 4. Let's check it out. 1, 2, 3. What's a Gruffalo? Why didn't you know? Or we could try it without counting in just a breath. Ready? What's a Gruffalo? Why didn't you know? Perfect.